Well, welcome back to Mr. Obsolete's Vintage Homesteading. Today our chore this morning was raking leaves to save for our compost, but I figured that was too exciting for you viewers, so we're going to do something else. And today's video is going to be about, do I use any modern devices on the homestead? And the answer is almost none, but there's one here that we use that's really handy. This is what's called a Logosol Smartholder, and it's for holding wood. And it's simple to set up. Just lift this up. Put your arm in here on behind the bolt. A little sticky here. Be back in a second here. Haven't used it for a long time, so the bolts are sticking. Be back in a sec. Well, we're back. We got them all ready. This is designed so you can put wood in. It has teeth on here that stick into the wood and hold it. There's some down here also. And just takes a few seconds to set up. The reason that I use this rather than my sawbuck that I use all the time, this is portable, a lot more portable, and so if I'm out in a brush and stuff like that, I can take this out there and cut the wood up there and then bring it in, whereas the sawhorse is a lot bigger and bulkier. But the sawhorse is more efficient because you can put a lot more wood in it. But anyway, we'll show you how it works here. We release the arm here. Just release this and it'll come up, and there you are, ready to cut. Like I say, this is adjustable. The thing that I find on this is stuff from about 4 inches till about 10 inches works pretty good. And it's not real heavily built, but I've had no problems with it. But you want to put small stuff like this. You can put most of the tree out to the front, have a little bit on the back, and a heavier one like this one here, we'll probably put about maybe 2/3 of it out here and 1/3 of it in the back. So anyway, we'll get the saw running here and be back in a few. Okay, we're back, got our eyes and ears on. This tree, the top blew out of it, broke off clear down to here last year, and it had a few little branches trying to grow on it. It was basically dead, so we decided to take it out. So we'll fire up the saw and cut it up. The saw we're using today is about a 1982 McCulloch Mac 110. These are little 33cc saw. McCulloch started making these about 1968, and they made them clear through the end of production. So get it fired up here and tip it out and reset it here. And ready for the next piece here. This piece of wood is pretty dense and it's pretty heavy, so it's a lot easier to use this than it is a sawhorse to lift it up and put it in it. You can just pick up the one end here. And you're already about this much sitting out. Lift it up, and again we're ready to go. But there you can see it's efficient, it's easy to use, and all we got to do to move it is take and drop the two arms, fold it down and pick it up and take it wherever we need it. You can see this little saw. There's really nice chips. I just put a new chain on it. The one that was on it was a safety chain. It has a guard on it for anti-kickback, but they don't cut worth beans. And the little McCullochs like this are the most powerful of all the small old saws that I've ever seen. You can see that it cuts pretty good and quickly. So anyway, we'll be back in a little bit with the second half of our exciting video. Well, we're back for the second half of the video, and it's going to be Mr. Obsolete's Vintage Chainsaw BS. So we're going to talk more about the little saw here. So when you're done, you want to take something like this and clean all the sawdust off. Keep it clean. This one has a nice feature here. It has a overriding oil pump on it, so over the actual oiler that's run by the saw. So this, I just pump this and it'll pump some oil onto the chain, so it's nice to put oil on it before you put it away. The controls and stuff are real simple. Have your throttle here and a lock, overriding oiler, ignition switch, choke, recoil starter, and the fuel and oil are up here on the top. One thing that's critical on these little saws more than the bigger saws is when you're filling them, you want to make sure there's no sawdust falling in the tank, because it'll plug up the screen and get in the line sometimes and the oilers will quit working. And same with the fuel, it just plugs them up. So when I take them off carefully, I usually take a toothbrush and brush around them, and then I take the cap off, set it aside and wipe it off before I put any fuel in them. These were one of McCulloch's most popular saws. They made different variations of them, but the basic power head was the same for years and years. And most of them are 33 cc, 2 cubic inches. And it's either 1967 or 68 they came out with a Power Mac 6. And it was the first super lightweight saw on the market. It weighed about 9 pounds. And it revolutionized the chainsaw industry, because most of the saw companies have been leaning towards more commercial saws. But as suburbs expanded and stuff like that, there was a need for homeowners to have saws, and so this was small, light, and inexpensive, and so if you didn't have any experience, it wasn't that difficult to operate. The drawback to them, though, of all small old saws that I've had, is that they're really finicky. So this device right here is a must-have when you're out working, because if the weather changes or the temperature changes or anything, it'll affect the way these saws run. So the three things that I find on these little mini saws that affect the way they run is air temperature, air density, and how much fuel's in the tank. And so if I'm not cutting for a long time, I'll have to inadvertently adjust the carburetor a couple of times to do it. Other saws that I have, little saws like this, are a lot worse than the McCulloch. But the nice thing about the McCullochs they have over the others is they're a lot more powerful. You know, this brand new 3/8 pitch chain there. Cuts nice, and you can see how nice and big the chips were. Another little weird thing on it is it doesn't really have a bolt-on felling spike, but it has a little cast one right here that's actually part of the front casting here. And it works okay, but you know, it's for the type of use you're doing a homeowner. So anyway, there you go. More vintage chainsaw BS on the Homestead. So we'll see you on the next vintage movie there. We'll see you then. Remember, vintage is best.